our first youth service. We're going to try to have one every around 3 months. So thank you for getting everyone up in the front, all the youth. Nice to see you guys. So, introducing myself a little bit. My name is Raymond Burns. I'm 25 years old, and I was born with this mole on my face right here. And there's something very interesting and magical about this mole. It's an Asian myth that if somebody who has a mole next to their eye is going to be somebody that's very sensitive and very emotional and is probably going to cry a lot. So that was me. For most of my life, I did a lot of crying. I didn't know when I was little, but my parents told me I would cry and cry so much as a baby. And just a little story to show this is, I would be crying in the middle of the night, and my parents would wake up, and then my dad would go and pick me up and try to calm me down, and he'd take me outside to calm me down. But my mom wouldn't be able to go back to sleep, because since I was crying so much, she was scared what my dad was going to do to me. So she would look outside the window, and we had a pool in the house, and she was always worried that my dad was going to throw me into the pool. That never happened. My parents are good people. They never threw me into the water. So anyway, that was just kind of me. I was very emotional and cried a lot. So when you cry a lot, and when you're crying a lot, who do you want to see? I want to ask you guys. Who? Parents, yes. What parents, especially? Mommy, yes. You want to see? Well, I wanted to see my mom, and especially for me, I really wanted my mom to be comforting and loving. Oh, Raymond, you're such a good boy. Oh, a C on a test, that's fine. You're still so smart. And yes. That's kind of what I wanted. But I don't know if you guys know my mom. My mom's not exactly that super duper lovey, kind of dovey, no matter what I do kind of thing. She's more kind of blunt and direct. And to give a few examples of this, sometimes during the summer, it'd be really hot, so I'd not be wearing my shirt. And then my mom would be like, Raymond, you look so fat! I'm like, okay, mommy. Or another time, I did really good on a test. I didn't do that so good in my high school year, or my lower grade years, but I did really good on a test. I got 100 on this capital test. And I was really excited about it. I wanted to show my mom. And I was like, Mommy, the teacher said you have to sign this test. And then my mom's like, no, I don't. You got a good grade on this. I don't have to sign this. I'm like, no, you don't. No, I'm not signing this. But I just wanted my mom to be proud of me. That's why I was showing it. I wanted her to sign it. But she just made fun of me. And the last example is one time I wanted to talk to my mom. This is kind of recently. And I was it was 4 years ago. And I was like, Mommy, there's something I want to talk with you when you have time. She was doing initiative. And she's like, no. And I was like, no, Mommy, I'm not joking. I really just want to talk to you. And she's like, no. I was like, no, Mommy, I really need to. No. And then I just went to my room and I just cried. And then my mom came later on. She's like, okay, we can talk. And I was like, no, I'm talking with you. But then I did, because I wanted to talk to her. But anyway, so this was kind of my experience with my mom. And many times I didn't feel loved and I didn't feel cared for, because I really wanted praise, and I really wanted to feel supported, and I really wanted to feel listened to. And I felt like my mom wasn't doing that, and I didn't feel loved because of that. And I remember sometimes I would go to my friend's house. I remember my friend Joe, and his mom was really praising and supportive and I don't know, listening. And then and she'd be like, oh, Raymond, you're such a good person. I'm so glad my son Joe has a friend like you. You're such a good influence to him. And she was saying all these things. I was like, yeah, thank you. And I just felt so good. But I also afterward, I also felt really kind of jealous. And I felt, I don't know, why can't saw this, and my mom was like, oh, Raymond. I was like, yeah? I was like, what do you want to eat? And I was like, nothing. Because I wanted my mom to talk to me. But as I grew older, I really came to realize, actually, my mom really did love me and really did care for me. And because she was offering me food because she saw that I was depressed and she wanted to care for me. But for her way of loving, to show love, wasn't exactly to talk, but maybe to make me some food. And that's something that I really started to realize. When I was younger, I felt like my mom didn't love me because she didn't praise me, she didn't support me, or she didn't listen to me. But I really started to realize that she's loving me in her own unique way. And I really realized, as children, that's something that we need to do. I was just kind of fixated at these points. If she does this, that means she loves me. But it's not like that. We have to expand our viewpoint, expand our perspective, and see all the ways that we are being loved. And once I was able to do that, I started to actually see how amazing my mom is. For most of my life, my mom has been a full-time worker. She's raised 4 kids. She's made sure we had a meal every single day, every single meal, even if she was working or even if she wasn't there. Always did the laundry, always cleaned up, was always an active participant of this church. And even now, when I'm 25 years old, my mom wakes up 6 o'clock in the morning to make sure I have lunch. Sometimes I feel kind of kiddie. I have this bag, oh, this is my lunch my mommy made me. Oh, you have such a nice lunch. Where did that come from? My mom made it. But anyway, that's just how she showed love. And that's what I want to share with the youth, with you guys, is with your parents, be able to notice how is it that your parents are loving you. And I feel don't look at the ways that you want to be loved, but look at the ways that you are already being loved. Whether that's your parents working really hard and providing for you, whether they're spending time with you, listening to you, making you food, doing laundry, cleaning up, or whatever it is. To see the ways that you are already being loved. So that's my main message toward the youth. Don't worry guys, I'm going to shift it more towards the parents now, tell what the parents should do. So before I talk about this, I want to say I'm not a parent. I've only been a child, and I've only had that experience from this side and seen other children. So I don't know much about this, but just from my perspective, I want to share. So anyway, I want to go back to this point, how we are all unique children of God. So one time, I was at Go, and I asked some kids, I was like, what would you like your ideal child to be like? If you had a child, what would you want your ideal child to be like? You could think about it for a second. And people said different things. Some people said, I really want my child to be extremely smart, just smart in everything. And some people talk about athletic, I want them to be a frisbee star or a soccer star. Or some people said a great musician or singer. Some people said I want them to be really muscular and look good. And so they said different things. And I realized something when I asked this question, what do you want your ideal child to look like? What they were really saying is they want their ideal child to be someone that is very much like either themselves or very much someone they really want to be. And I started to realize that this is probably many times what, as parents, we probably subconsciously put on our children. What we want them to be is a better version of ourselves. And even though I feel this is a great motivation and intent, I also feel that it's really bad. Because of the fact, as we were saying, and as we all know, we are all unique manifestations and children of God. And that means even though you want them to be a better better version of you, they aren't you. They are all different people. I'm just me, and they're just them. And they need to be loved and cared for in that kind of way. And that's a lot of what I want to share. Like not to compare, not to make them into a certain kind of person, but to really value that unique child of God and be able to see how special that is. And for me, a lot of times people come up to me, I guess as the youth pastor, people are like, "Oh, Raymond, you're such a good boy." And you're such a good boy. And like, how did you become like such a good kid? And a lot of them I'm like, yes, thank you. But I also feel like, wait, you know, like I also realize, oh, they're comparing me to their child. And I feel like, you know, I'm not more special than anybody here. I'm not better than anybody. Like, we're all different. We're all unique. And we really have to realize, like, what that means. And I want to give an example of this. So I'm going to be talking about Albert Einstein, Beethoven, and Michael Jordan. So I feel like these are all pretty great people. And I feel like a lot of people will probably value them very highly, or maybe even think they're more special than other people. But let's take these people and let's go back to a time when we were all like cavemen, like to the Stone Age. Let's bring it back to a time where there's pretty much no such thing as music, when there's no such thing really as sports, or there's no such thing as science. Who is Albert Einstein when we go back into this world where there is no science, where there is no sport? Who are these people? These people are really pretty much just the same as everybody else. Pretty much nothing special about them. They're not better than anyone or anything like that. And I feel like the only reason Albert Einstein looks more special than Beethoven looks more special than other people, or Michael Jordan looks more special than other people, is because of the world that we live in right now. The world that we live in, they really shine, and they really come out. But I believe in the ideal world, in the world that we're supposed to live in the godly world, our unique selves should shine just as brightly as those people. And so those people may look special and seem special, but what I'm saying is they're not special, they just fit into this world better. Many other people, our unique personalities, our unique selves, we don't fit into this world like those guys. We don't shine like those guys. But we need to be able to shine like those guys. We need to be able to have a world where each one of us has our unique self shining out. And so I feel like, and this really needs to happen within the family. We can't have why aren't you more like your brother? Or like, why aren't you more like your neighbor? Or why aren't you more like somebody in the community? I feel like constantly we're comparing people to other people around. And in reality, this can't happen. We need to be able to care and cater to how they are as a unique child of God. And I want to just give this example. Let's say that we had Beethoven, Albert Einstein, Michael Jordan as they were children, and you were raising them. And then you're raising them, and they were going to school and everything, and Albert Einstein's getting straight A's, and Michael Jordan's just failing. And then you go to Michael, and you're like, Michael, why can't you be more like Albert over here? Why are you always just fooling around and playing with balls? And why can't you be more like Albert? And I feel like this is a lot of times, because we're unique, we feel compared to all these people, but we're not these people. We're just us. And we need to be catered and we need to be loved just as us. Not being seen from different people, or how different people are, or how different people are treated, or how different people excel. And I hope that's something that we can really do within our family. And that's something that we can really create. Yes. And the last point I want to make is how we really need to create this kind of world and this kind of church right now, where unique people can start to connect to our church. Unique people can start to this world don't really shine. Even though we all know we're all unique children of God, most of us don't really feel that special. The world really only allows a very select few amount of people to feel special. And I want to give an example of how this can evolve. So in the late 19th century, schools were really failing. Many kids were dropping out of school before they graduated because they were just going to work. But graduating through the years, more and more start to stay in school and start to not drop out but stay to graduation. And one of the big reasons why they started to continue to stay in school is schools began to implement sports into schools. And schools also began to implement extracurricular activities. And this became a revolutionary thing where more people started to stay in schools. And the reason was, before, what schools were doing is, they were only catering to one type of person, studious and academically driven people. That was the only thing that schools were, those were the only kind of people that felt purpose there, that felt passionate to be there. But once sports were introduced and extracurricular activities, it started to attract much more people with different kind of passions, with different kind of lifestyle, with different kind of personality, because it started catering to many different kinds of people. So school kind of changed this kind of way, which gave a lot more people passion to be in school and a lot more people reason to be in school. And I feel like as a church, that is something that we really need to do. I feel that as a church, we have been evolving into a community that's been more, that's having more kids want to be a part of this, more youth wanting to participate, and things like that. But we still have more that we need to be able to connect with different, unique children of God. Because still, I feel that a lot of what this church really connects with are people who are maybe they like to study theology, or maybe they're really driven with understanding true parents. But it's pretty much primarily catered to those kind of people. And as a church, what we need to do is we need to develop in a way where naturally people feel connected here, and people want to be here. We can't just cater to one type of person. Because the truth is, like, we all need God, and we all need true parents. And if we have the truth, we should be able to have a place that everyone can feel connected to. And I feel, especially if somebody has much of like a business kind of mindset, like they're really into like business and like money, they don't want to be a part of this like church. But they should be. We should have business kind of people, and we should have all different kind of people, art people, sports people, and all these different kind of things. Our church needs to be attracting. And so I ask you guys that we need to really kind of develop this. And another point I want to make is, another big struggle is, since our church, it's very hard to be in our church, especially right now with the world that we live in. As a child growing up, there's so many different kind of temptations, there's so many kind of different distractions and different kind of things that are going on, and peer pressure. As a child, to stay like within this church and want to be in this church, you really need to like have like a strong faith, or you really need to become like resilient, knowing that things are going to like be better later on. That you're just like being pure is going to pay off later on, or things like that. But it only caters to like those kind of people. For many other people, they don't really have this kind of strong faith or this kind of resilience, and a lot of times they really struggle, because the church doesn't provide what they need. And I feel, so we have these struggles, and we have to become very aware of that, how we are all unique, and we have to see that many of our children are going to be struggling, are going to be having a hard time. And we have to be able to see that and still love that anyway. And there's something I want to share with you guys. Yesterday, I asked some people from Go to share about what are some things you could share with, you wish you could share with your parents, but feel you can't because you won't feel accepted. So again, what are some things you wish you could share with your parents, but feel you can't because you won't feel accepted? And these are some of the responses the kids said. Would you still love me if I wasn't in this church anymore? I don't know if I care too much about being Max in the church if there is someone else I find. I'm afraid to tell my parents how I feel about religion. I'm agnostic, so I believe my parents would judge me harshly because my parents are fairly religious. I'm not a virgin. I like to read erotic novels. I'm not sure if I believe in God. And these are the many struggles that we're facing because we are having a hard time connecting with this church. But we really need to be able to, we need to understand how everyone is unique. Some people might have a harder time living in this world than other times. Some people might be easier, but we're all different. We're all unique. But we need to be supported and loved no matter what. And I want to end with just these 2 points. I feel that if we are loved, supported, and understood as unique children of God, and if we can do that, I truly believe that with that kind of support, no matter what happens, we will never be disappointed. And the second thing I really want to say is that we really need to revolutionize our church. Because even though we are all unique, and we're all different, we all connect to different things, one thing that's the same is we all need God, and we all need to